the food it's delicious, man. I mean, everybody knows rendang, but it's not just rendang. Yeah.
Oke, kembali lagi bersama kita, tim Sarga, dengan tajuk tema podcast di sini. Nah, kali ini kita agak spesial nih podcast yang sekarang. Dan juga mungkin sebelum kita mulai nih, ya teman-teman pasti mikir juga nih, ini sopo lagi nih yang ada di podcastnya si Sarga gitu loh. Mungkin untuk sekarang kita bakal wrap up dulu untuk kegiatan, terutama di podcast. Karena sejauh ini sudah 21 dengan Bapak yang hadir di sini sekarang. Jadi kita bakal, seperti yang kita janjikan, kita bakal menulis apakah itu artikel tentang semua kegiatan dan podcast kita, tentang tokoh-tokoh yang bergerak di Sumatera Barat. Oke, tidak memperpanjang mukadimah, dan mungkin kita kalau coba bahasanya, saya bakal coba bahasa Inggris yang baik dan benar dengan Bapak ini. Bapak ini bisa bahasa Indonesia, tapi sayangnya aja yang egois pengen bahasa Inggris. Jadi saya masuk Banda nanti kan, ya sudah lah, nggak apa-apa kan begitu. Kita bakal bicara tentang pariwisata. So here we go. Please welcome Mr. J. Howard. And before the guy himself, the legend, the myth. Anyway, so the guy himself introduced himself. So I'm going to tell you guys that we're going to talk about the tourism in West Sumatra. And that is one of the field that we're going to focus on within, like, let's say, like the Sarga program actually. So yeah, time is yours, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Akbar. Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name is Jay, and I've had the privilege of living in Indonesia for the last 15 years with my wife, and moved over to Indonesia just because I love this country, I love the people, I love the culture, and just want to be a positive contributor to the development and the growth of this beautiful place. So when I first moved here about 15 years ago, we had 2 children, and since then we've added 4 more. So I have 6 children, 2 of which were born in Indonesia, and all of my children have lived here longer than in the country that we're from, which is USA. We're from the United States of America. So my background is in management and business, marketing, finance, and had a wonderful career in the US for about 12 years, but really wanted something more, wanted more of an adventure for myself, for my family. I wanted my children to be able to experience what it's like to grow up in another country, another culture, and learn to appreciate that. And so for the last 9 years, I've lived here in Padang, and I love West Sumatra. I love Minangkabau people and food, and just really want to be a positive contributor to so many good things that are already here. And yeah, I had the privilege of meeting this friend, maybe 4 years ago?
4 years, 2019.
A little over 4 years ago. And we have some things in common, some common interests, but man, just love this guy. Even more than a friend, just as a brother. So man, I'm glad to know you, and thanks for having me today.
Yeah. That was a really brief explanation about yourself.
Yeah.
And that really shows that these guys is on a different level. Man, I feel ashamed. So anyway, you guys already heard from the guy himself, Jay Howard, from America. He had a background in like marketing and finance. He had a good career. I've already lived in Indonesia for like 15 years already.
Yeah.
Approximately 15 years. I have 6 children. And for those who are going to ask, is all of Howard family are American, which technically they go from America to Indonesia.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then like they have 6 children. 2 out of 4 were born in Indonesia.
That's right. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It is
actually cool. And then like what makes me interested in the way you think about like these places have tons of beauty, let's say culture or landscapes. So what are the things specifically that you really like apart from the food and like let's say like we're you know that for now Jay Howard is live in Padang, but before like you live in like all over Indonesia, right, Pak Jay?
So as far as we visited lots of places in Indonesia, but I've only lived and lived in West Java for about a year, and then we lived in North Sumatra for about 4 years.
So other than that, is in West Sumatra.
Main time in this wonderful country is in Sumatera Barat, ya.
Yeah, Sumatera Barat, Minangkabau.
Yeah, Ranah Minang.
Ranah Minang. And yeah, Pak Jaya could speak Indonesia very good, and Minangkabau for sure. Because like, let's say it's like 5 years, 1 year in West Java, 4 years in Medan, means like 10 years in Minangkabau, I think.
9 tahun.
Yes, 9 or so.
9 years, yeah.
So yeah, what are specifically that make you really interested with our, let's say, Nagari Minangkabau?
Yeah.
For example, like yes, you have already aware of the fact that we're matrilineal for sure, and we have a good food. Like everybody knows that we have a good food, but could you please mention us about like specific things?
And that's a great question. I get that question often. You know, why West Sumatra? Why Padang? And I think it's a pretty easy question to answer for myself. You know, you mentioned a couple of things that people are already aware of. And Indonesia is very rich culturally.
Yeah.
You know, hundreds of different cultures, different languages, different traditions, and Minangkabau is one of those. Very unique, a very full of deep meaning. Like there's thousands of Pepatah Minangkabau, like it's like wisdom that's been passed down from years to years, from year to year, from family to family. I think even in West Sumatra, you know, most people maybe not even aware. I know foreigners aren't aware, but there's like megaliths, you know, that are thousands of years old in West Sumatra, just full of history, and the culture in and of itself is, it's one of the most unique ones on the planet. And the people are the culture, and so people ask me, you know, why West Sumatra? And the Minangkabau people are friendly. They're open to be friends with people who are different than themselves, and that's what me and my family have experienced. So we're very grateful for that, coming here as foreigners and being received. First and foremost is just somebody who might be a friend, and then as we get to know people better, being received as family even. And so we're very grateful for that. The food it's delicious, man. I mean, everybody knows rendang, but it's not just rendang. Yeah, I think Minangkabau food has been an influence all throughout this country, all throughout Southeast Asia, to the point where, people outside of West Sumatra say this is Indonesian food. But having lived here for so many years, I can see the Minangkabau influence outside of West Sumatra.
Oh, okay.
So, and
I
think Minangkabau is known as well for that. Famous people from here, you know, whether they be politicians or religious leaders or writers, with the tradition of perantau, they don't stay here. They don't keep those talents only in West Sumatra. They go out and share those with the rest of the country, to the point where, other people see how good it is and they adopt it for themselves. Now, in addition to the food, the people, the culture, and this is a beautiful place. So West Sumatra has it all. It has the ocean, the Indian Ocean, beautiful. Beautiful islands, beautiful beaches, beautiful waves for those who like waves. There's places in West Sumatra that are pristine, that are still have the beauty with which they were endowed by the Creator. And have the mountains as well, jungle. You know, there are volcanoes here that are still active. You know, what an exciting thing to have the opportunity to hike up a mountain and to see, you know, geothermal gases coming up out of it, and to be able to look at the different landscapes between the jungle, and then like you get like for Gunung Merapi, for example, like you get on top, it looks like a moonscape. You know, it's a totally different place than at the Kaki Gunung. So it's just mini craters, not just one, not just a traditional idea of what people think a volcano is. And just being out in the jungle and seeing paths that have been used for generations so that people could travel from one place to another, and being able to take those and just to see the uniqueness, the beauty of nature here in West Sumatra. Like, what else would someone want? Padang also is not as crowded as other places in this country. Still relatively, you can move around without feeling like you got other people on top of you. So right now, like I think as the legend and the popularity of Padang West Sumatra grows, it could get more crowded. But as of right now, you know, it's still a comfortable place to live. yeah, weather is always beautiful. You don't have to worry about musim dingin here. It's good, stable weather. So yeah, I think it's just a great place, man.
Yeah, actually, some of us want to taste winter, but anyway, but yeah.
It's okay. You taste it, and I guarantee you'll be like, oh, that was good. I must go back to West Sumatra.
Definitely, it's just jokes, sir.
Yeah.
But yeah, you really mentioned a lot. But West Sumatra and ultra specific. But yeah, you mentioned it before. You're going to give all of those bullets of the point of West Sumatra. Like, you know, it's gonna be easy. I mean, I don't know whether it comes out for you for like 9 years ish. You're living in West Sumatra or not. But what I can conclude from your description about West Sumatra is that we have a tons of potential in terms of tourism, which is the stuff that we are going to talk about. We'll talk about it now.
Yes.
Now. So yeah. As Pak Jay says, we have a lot, tons of socio-cultural landscape, beaches, beautiful ocean, and even prehistoric things. Things, megalithic and stuff like that. We have a lot, and even folklore too, and like folklore and stuff like that.
That's right.
But yeah, in my opinion, as a let's say as a Minangkabau children, we have tons of, like, let's say, things that we think it's good, and you say it's good also. And I also do things in tourism also, like a guiding and stuff. And most of my friend or foreigner friends said, like, man, this is super good. Like, it's authentic and this and this and that. The problem is, it's like, it's there. Why can it doesn't mean to put things like apple to apple, things like that, or maybe like a comparison thing. But I do think personally that in terms of tourism, West Sumatra still have tons of capability to push out. But we are not going to destroy it though. But you know, a little bit pushed up. What do you think about that? Sorry.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of big challenges that face West Sumatra, just in my opinion. And again, I just share this with the perspective knowing I'm a foreigner and I'm not Minangkabau. I don't know all the details. It's just my perspective. But I'd say two things come to mind. One, I think it's human nature to take things for granted, take things that are special for granted. And so sometimes when you've been born in West Sumatra, raised in West Sumatra, if you're not careful, you can think, man, this is just the way it is, and you don't look at Bukit Barisan anymore and think, wow, that's beautiful. You don't look at the ocean anymore and think, man, that's amazing. You know, you get used to the taste of rendang. You don't realize.
You don't think that's special anymore.
Yeah, like so. I think a key component, especially for West Sumatrans, Minangkabau, is to realize what you have. Like, your culture is unique. Your culture is beautiful. Your region of this island is unique and beautiful. And so because of that, it deserves to be respected. It deserves to be protected. First and foremost for you. Like a lot of people see tourism as an opportunity to make money. And it is, but that's not the number one thing. You know,
I totally agree. Yeah.
You know, tourism is about sharing something of value with other people so they can see it and appreciate it as well. Like, I think if I could leave this place at some point later in the future, I want to leave knowing that I help people help my Minangkabau friends realize how special they have it here.
That's a very deep point one.
and that leads into things like, you know, what can we do? Like later on, we'll talk about what can we do to prepare for tourism. And I think it also starts with what our motivation is. You don't want to make positive changes just so tourists will come. You know, like the positive change is first and foremost for the people who live in West Sumatra.
Okay.
So for example, you know, one thing that'll definitely come up is just cleanliness. Yeah, there's some beautiful beaches in the city of Padang, for example, that they just have a lot of
Yeah.
trash on them. Many beautiful rivers have a lot of trash in them, and so like, man, we want those to be cleaned up, but not so tourists will come.
Yeah.
So the people who live here every day don't have
For
to suffer.
convenience.
Yeah, don't have to suffer the health consequences
Yeah.
of having, you know, their beach trashed and their water trashed. So, like, Minangkabau people deserve like a clean environment. You know, not just so outsiders will be more happy to come here and spend money. That's not the main thing. So, your question was related to, I think, potential for tourism. And I do think there's a ton of potential here. A couple of big challenges, but a ton of potential. And for me, I think there's a gap still, a couple of gaps. One big gap is people outside of West Sumatra they don't know. You know, people in the West. I'm most familiar with the West. They don't know much about Indonesia. They think Indonesia, probably the first thing that comes to mind is Bali.
For sure.
Yeah, a lot of people I've talked to, they think Bali's its own country. They don't know that it's part of
even
Indonesia.
worse.
Yeah, and so and West Sumatra is very different than Bali. It's different in wonderful ways. You know, so I think that's a big gap that has to be closed. Is to just let people know, you know, about the beauty and uniqueness of West Sumatra. I think some of that can be done with an extension of an invitation. Yeah, hey, come and see. Come and see the beauty, come and see the uniqueness. Some of that West Sumatra has helped with, and from the campaign of Wonderful Indonesia. Yeah. And then there's also, I think, a West Sumatra version of that as well. So that is part of it. But I think there's more that can be done there.
Like we have to do more in order to, let's say, like announce like the beauty of the places that we have, and that is also related. I'm going to touch a little bit back about like it really hit me in the head. I mean the way you're saying, like, yeah, it's just natural. Like everybody will not really appreciate the things that they're used to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not about Minangkabau itself. It's not about me as a Minangkabau children or descendant. It's probably about like West Java people. Like everybody, it's just like human nature. Actually, we don't really appreciate like, yeah, just like another mound. When I see like a Bukit Barisan, you know, like Randang, it's just like another Randang, and I don't really appreciate like how big it is that this thing hit, like, just say let's say like things like the most delicious food kind of stuff or whatever. But yeah, I mean, and tons of things, you know. But that's really hit me. So that thing, what I think, me personally as a Minangkabau, I think that is probably the core problem. Yeah, for sure, it's like a human nature. But yeah, with all of this, you know, let's say like a potential, if you can't really deal with this kind of stuff, this small thing, it is hard though, but it cover up all of this, you know, big potential, good sociocultural and landscape, mountains, you know, tradition and stuff like that. So anyway, that's really hit me hard. Thank you, sir. But so yeah, we are going to talk about like, and I agree with you, like we need more, let's say like a way to advertise, let's say the beauty of West Sumatra to foreigner, for example. So as you say, I'm also a guide. I do things in tourism, and you also, as far as I know, that you do things in tourism.
Yeah, we have. So since I've lived in West Sumatra, I had an idea, you know, to do some business here, and so I did, you know, as a guy who has a business background, a management background, I did market research, and you know, it's better, I think, to do things that you either enjoy or that you have skill to do. You know, we can't just do anything we want to do necessarily without putting a team together. So when I did market research and I looked around and I saw things that West Sumatra was strong in and maybe things that they could still grow in, I saw an opportunity in tourism, not for me to provide tourism services, but maybe to provide some consulting to folks in the tourism industry here, to help them understand what a foreigner's perspective might be, to share some of my expertise with how to market better, how to package things better so that they would be more appealing to foreign travelers. And so, yeah, about 4 years ago, I started a business here in Indonesia and in Padang, based out of Padang. And it is a consulting business that really wants to, share a foreigner's perspective. Not that it's better than Minangkabau perspective or local Indonesian perspective, but just that it's different. And when we have a customer base or a potential customer base, potential market that we want to appeal to, it's always better to know their perspective.
Definitely agree.
So yeah, that's what our business is attempting to do. It's been slow going. None of us thought that we'd get a worldwide pandemic that would shut down tourism in this country for a couple of years.
Out of hand.
But yeah, thankful that that's behind us now. And yeah, that's what we really have a passion for, is to work together with Minangkabau people and people who live here in West Sumatra to promote the beauty and the uniqueness of this special place.
So it's like a consulting in the field of tourism to let's say like to share the foreigner perspective, because for sure, like based on all of this complexity of marketing terminology that I heard just now, so that is the company that you're at.
That's right. Yes.
Really? So it's called like
So the company is officially called Peak International Consulting.
Oh, okay.
And we have some other things that we do kind of under that legal name that we try to do to help promote West Sumatra in partnership with Minangkabau people, with locals.
Yeah, me as well.
That's right. Yes.
And like we have like other people, like I know that in Peak we have tons of. I don't know much because it's like the only thing that I see is like a Wayne.
Yeah.
And for sure, like let's say, to put it in a perspective, like as a local guide or a dude who do things in tourism, it's like we have other guys who are like a Bayou as well.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, and we see that it's gonna be subjective if I share my thought about Peak. So but I hope that like the whole idea is get to already being delivered, let's say, to the audience, so that they could, as simple as this, I hope that we could realize like how much things that we have here in West Sumatra. And once again, it's not to capitalize all of these things, just to appreciate more. I think we can do more, and it's not merely about money and stuff like that. I think because we deserve more than this one. This one is not bad though, but we can do way more better, I think. So that's actually where the whole idea of P is kind of, let's say, like a relevant with my thoughts and Bayou thought. And that's why we're joining in. And do you have a...
Yeah, so as I, after we established the business, legally, and began to put together a plan for what we could do, we realized early on there's a ton of work to be done and nothing we could do ourselves. And so that's why we reached out to find people who had some particular talents and had appreciation for Minangkabau culture, and had some experience also in promoting it and sharing with others the beauty of it, uniqueness of it. A lot of times I see in tourism, a guide can become more like a pendamping. It's like somebody who kind of leads somebody by the hand geographically, through a particular place to a place, and but in my opinion, like a true guide is going to be someone who knows the culture, knows nature, knows history, knows how a certain place might fit into a culture's history, and is excited about that, like appreciates it and wants to share the details with someone who's not from here and who doesn't know. It's one thing for somebody to come and to see a beautiful mountain, but there's beautiful mountains all over the world. There's only one Minangkabau culture. Yeah. And so, you can't just, I don't want people to just come here and, have an experience on an island, or, take a selfie, in the jungle. I want them to meet Minangkabau people, hear stories of history, hear some of the legends, taste the food, even prepare some of the food, learn how to do that, so that they'll have lifelong memories, not just, a cool selfie to put on their social media.
That's pretty deep, actually. Yeah, ultra deep. So yeah, I mean, for spoilers, I told you that me with Mr. J or Paja is not only being like a, yeah, it's not come from my mouth though. It's come from the tongue of this guy. So, and I'm really thankful for that. We not only talk about businesses and this and that. I'm very thankful that not only Howard family think my family as a brother, as a business partner, but as a brother as well, which really, I feel totally honored. But yeah, anyway, and we are not only talking about business, we like to talk like tons of things, not only business. So before we wrapped up all this podcast, I want to ask one more question, sir, if I may.
Yeah.
In terms of tourism, Indonesia as a country, so we have like Ministry of Tourism kind of stuff, or like a parekraf, if I would say. So there are tons of let's say or moves that force the tourism aspect to grow on each place in Indonesia. So we have tons of product. Well, each of the places all over Indonesia, whether it is let's say desa pariwisata and this like that. So by that we can, I think it's safe to assume that yes, like tourism is a critical moment, like actually to increase the quality of tourism in Indonesia. So what I meant by the quality is just like, I definitely agree with what you mean. So a guide is not just a people who handing let's say friend to a place, this and that, but someone who has a knowledge, experience, and he really have the the excitement toward all of this that he has or she has, whatever. So what do you think, like by that phenomena, let's say like a whole country phenomena, I would just put it in a simple word, like, do you think that it's gonna affect the development of so we see Indonesia as a whole right now. So do you think, do J. Howard think, like, in terms of tourism in Indonesia, not only like the quantity of tourists or whatever, but the quality of tourism is increasing in Indonesia within 3 or 4 years? What do you think?
Yeah, so I can't speak with much authority outside of West Sumatra, because I live here. This is what I'm most familiar with. But I would say that some of the challenges that have to be overcome in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years, I think ability to communicate, with foreigners, particularly in English. And I know this is something that folks are aware of, but if you're going to be a guide or work in tourism in Indonesia, or really any other country that's not native English speaking, right now, you really need to be able to speak English well. And that, again, that's for communication purposes. It's not so that the first motivation can't be so that I make more money. The money will come if we have the skills, if we have the appreciation for our culture, if we really have something unique and beautiful, which that is reality for West Sumatra, then the money will come. So just don't make that number one. It'll corrupt all of our motives. But yeah,
the intention.
So one of the key things is people have to learn how to speak English. Whether or not they end up working in tourism, it probably will benefit them in other areas as well. But I think there still has to be an area of growth in West Sumatra. I think number two, that's a little bit more difficult, is just access to some of the beautiful places. Access that's more easy. Unfortunately, Indonesia is really far from a lot of places, and so people are going to be traveling a lot to get here. And once they reach the beautiful city of Padang, then to have to go, hours more to get out into nature. It makes things a little bit more difficult. But when we improve access, it also increases the risk of, contamination, if you will. The easier it is to get to some place, the quicker it can get destroyed by, people not treating it well, whether it's just traffic or whether it's trash or, becoming overpopulated, if you will, overly visited, to where it loses its appeal. So it's managing that delicate balance as well with improving access, but having a plan in place beforehand to protect,
to mitigate all of
this.
That's right.
Yeah. Yes, and I would say that's the third plan. Is really the third point is really have a plan, have a vision for what West Sumatran tourism will look like. I would strongly advise not to try to become like Bali. Don't follow the pattern of Bali. Learn from other places where that do well in tourism, but don't just duplicate them. Take the good things from them, but reject the bad and make it unique to West Sumatra. You don't have to become like others in order to have the same benefits. Be who you are, be West Sumatra, but have a plan, have a vision for this thing beforehand, so that you can prevent what often happens in this wonderful country. Someone sees an opportunity economically, and the next thing you know, in this one particular beautiful place, you've got 50 duplicates of the exact same thing. Even to the point, like I think of some of the places that have a beautiful view here of the Indian Ocean and of the sunset. And once people kind of think, oh, I can make some money here, next thing you know, you've got several places that are right next to each other. Some that are offering loud music, in such a way where some of the beauty of the view gets destroyed, and some of the tranquility of what people first appreciated, gets interrupted. It gets changed, and so a plan beforehand will help control that.
That's really ultra good advice. So it's like the ability to communicate, access, and then vision, which include a plan beforehand to do things.
And a vision and a plan specific for West Sumatra, not just duplicating,
not just
with other people.
duplicating to other places. That's really good. So anyway, thanks a lot, sir, for your time.
My privilege.
And like your insight of and your willingness to come here, despite of the fact that you come here like in the traffic hours and stuff like that. I mean, it's really, I feel really honored for you.
No, it's my privilege, man. Again, I'm the foreigner here, so I'm the one who's benefited the most from being a part of this culture, even though a small part, from experiencing the beauty of it, being received into it. So, man, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being my friend, and for not just considering me. I'm always going to be a bule, but I'm not. You don't consider me orang asing anymore. So I really appreciate that, man. Thank you.
You're very welcome, sir. So I think that's all for now. As I said, this might be like the 21st podcast of Sarga's. We're gonna close like this first section of Sarga's activities. So hopefully we're gonna meet you really soon, I think. So see ya.